30 years ago, Hasbro introduced the world to a new take on Transformers with Beast Wars, a new series starring the descendants of the Autobots and Decepticons, the Maximals and Predacons, who transformed into organic-looking animals. The toy line and its accompanying cartoon revitalized the brand for the 90s, and just like the original Transformers series before it, Hasbro's Japanese partner Takara soon brought the line over to their markets, expanding on this new age of beasts with new toys, characters, and media of their own. This special compilation of the basics collects and updates a selection of episodes about the story of this alternate international take on the Beast era. The Beast Wars toy line arrived in Japan in summer 1997. At first, Takara's release of the toys was largely the same as their Hasbro counterparts, but their handling of the franchise soon began to diverge, as they started recoloring the figures to better match the characters' appearances in the animated series, and released the first new Japanese original character of the era, the Predacon Shadow Panther, a black recolor of the Maximal Cheetor. The Japanese dub of the Beast Wars cartoon debuted in October of that year, titled Beast Wars Super Lifeform Transformers. The basic story of the series was unchanged. It was still about a crew of Maximals led by Optimus Primal, who, in the Japanese market, was named Convoy, pursuing a gang of Predacons led by Magmatron, back in time to a mysterious planet, called Energoa in Japan, which turned out to be prehistoric Earth. But the dub, directed by Yoshikazu Iwanami, turned it into a full-blown comedy, full of fourth-wall-breaking gags and ad-libbed dialogue, with almost every bot given a kyaragobi, a catchphrase that they said at the end of their sentences. Internationally, the dub is perhaps most well known for changing Air-Razor's gender from female to male, inadvertently making the character's later romance with Tigatron the first instance of a gay relationship in Transformers canon. However, when the first season came to an end in March 1998, there weren't yet enough episodes of the North American show ready to be imported right away. So, to fill the year-and-a-half gap until more were available, Takara commissioned the production of two original spin-off series, Beast Wars 2nd and Beast Wars Neo. Cell animated by Studio Ashi Productions rather than CGI, and not nearly as off-the-wall as the Beast Wars dub, but still with a heavy comedic bent. These two shows followed the adventures of different groups of Maximals and Predacons on other planets. Now, the original intention for the series was that they would be set in the future era from which the cast of Beast Wars hailed, 300 years in the future. But in practice, the shows wound up introducing some discontinuities that instead led to them being dated to tens of thousands of years in the future, long after the time of the original Beast Wars cast. Beast Wars 2nd ran for 43 episodes from April 1998 to January 1999. Mirroring Beast Wars, it was set on post-apocalyptic Earth, referred to in the series as the planet Gaia, and followed the adventures of another convoy, Lio Convoy, as he and his Maximals sought to prevent a squad of Predacons led by Galvatron from obtaining the mysterious Angolmois Energy within the planet. The toy line that accompanied the series was an unusual mix. Takara continued to import figures from the Hasbro line, but gave many of them new color schemes, and even retooled a few, reimagining them with new names, personalities, and allegiances as distinct characters from their Western counterparts. Moreover, the line didn't stick to only having organic beast modes. Many of the series' Predacon toys were recolored figures from past series like Generation 1, Generation 2, and Machine Wars, which had vehicle and robotic beast alternate modes. There was also a small assortment of vehicles and playsets, and 3 brand new Japanese original figures: Lio Convoy, a white lion, Galvatron, a triple changer who became a dragon and a drill tank, and Moon, a cartoonish robot rabbit who watched over the conflict from Gaia's moon alongside the android Artemis. December 1998 saw the return of the Transformers to cinema screens for the first time since the Transformers the Movie in 1986, with the theatrical feature Beast Wars Special. Not quite a movie, this special was made up of 3 parts. An abridged retelling of the Beast Wars cartoons so far, made using clips from the show with new dialogue, an original Beast Wars second animated feature entitled Lio Convoy in Imminent Danger, which saw Optimus Primal transported through time to team up with Lio Convoy in battle against the monstrous Majin Zarak. And as a tease for the future, a Japanese dub of the Beast Wars Season 2 episode, Bad Spark. Infamously, the film was promoted with the release of a Beast Wars branded sausage. At the climax of Beast Wars 2nd, Lio Convoy sealed all of Gaia's Angolmois energy in capsules and scattered them across the galaxy, leading directly into Beast Wars Neo, which featured 2 new teams racing from planet to hunt the capsules down. A squad of young Maximal rookies under the reluctant command of woolly mammoth Big Convoy, and a unit of Predacons who all turned into dinosaurs and other prehistoric creatures, led by Magmatron. The series ran for 35 episodes from February to September 1999, and revealed that Angolmois Energy was actually the disembodied life force of the monster planet Unicron, making his first full reappearance in animation since the original Transformers cartoon. Unicron attempted to turn Cybertron into his new body, but was defeated by the combined might of Big Convoy and Lio Convoy. The toy line for this series returned to exclusively organic beast modes, with around half the line, the main cast of the cartoon, made up of new Japanese original toys, most of which featured third attack modes, turning into weapons or traps. A prototype for a Unicron figure was famously designed, but the toy never saw a release. July 1999 brought the Beast Warriors back to cinemas. The Beast Wars Season 3 episode, Cutting Edge, was shown theatrically as part of a triple bill with other short films based on Takara's Microman and Licca-chan franchises. The rest of the Beast Wars cartoon would then finally arrive on television after Neo concluded, the final 2 seasons airing from October 1999 to March 2000, under the title Beast Wars Metals, dubbed in the same goofy style as the first, with new clip shows created to replace the 2 episodes that had been shown in cinemas. However, by the time of Metals, the line had begun to struggle. Reportedly, the overly complex new toys created for Neo hadn't sold well, and with sales in a slump, the Metals toy line wound up lasting only a few months at retail, leaving many figures from the Hasbro toy line without a Japanese release. Though it did include one of the era's most notable Japanese original toys, Ravage, a character who appeared in the cartoon but wasn't part of the Hasbro line. Some other significant pieces of media released during the Beast era in Japan included manga adaptations of Beast Wars 2nd, Neo, and Metals by Shoji Imaki, which ran in Comic Bomb Bomb magazine alongside the cartoons, presenting alternate versions of the series' storylines. And a selection of fighting games released in 1999. Beast Wars Metals for the Nintendo 64 and Sony PlayStation, which would be imported to North America the following year, and Dual Fight Beast Wars for the Game Boy Color, which remained Japanese exclusive. But ultimately, due to the downturn in toy sales, Takara made the decision not to import Hasbro's Beast Wars sequel, Beast Machines, opting instead to produce a third original cell animated series, Car Robots, which took the franchise back to its roots with the reintroduction of realistic vehicle modes. Produced by Studio Gallop, the series was vague on its relationship to the larger Generation 1 and Beast era timeline, featuring Fire Convoy's Autobots battling Gigatron's Predacons on Earth in the year 2000. But it was very much of a piece with the rest of Japanese Beast era media, with a light-hearted tone and a toy line that mixed new figures with existing ones from Beast Wars and other past series. It ran for 39 episodes from April to December 2000, and went on to be the only one of the 3 to be dubbed into English, released in Hasbro markets as Robots in Disguise in 2001, earning it a unique legacy of its own. Check out the basics on robots in disguise to learn more. The end of car robots marked the end of the Beast era, as Takara and Hasbro then entered a period of closer collaboration to co-produce a trilogy of new Transformers series that would run until 2006. But though a new era for the brand was now underway, the Beasts weren't quite extinct. Beast machines belatedly arrived in Japan in 2004 under the title Beast Wars Returns. Released as something of a side project for fans, the cartoon, dubbed in the signature zany ad-libbed style of Beast Wars, aired on satellite rather than network television, while the toys, recolored with new cartoon-accurate paint jobs, were sold only at Toys R Us. While it may have limped across the finish line, Japan's take on the Beast era was still an extremely influential one. For example, the Japanese original series were the first to give Transformers the built-in ability to scan their own alternate modes, which has become a staple of the franchise today. They popularized the idea of the Convoy line of commanders, heroic warriors who all resembled Optimus Prime, and were the first to introduce the concept of an evil black and grey Convoy clone, which in years to come would inspire the Optimus Prime clone, Nemesis Prime. And while the North American cartoons took inspiration from multiple Generation 1 stories, and weren't intended to be set within a specific G1 continuity, in Japan, the Beast era has always been treated as part of the same universe as the original 1980s Transformers cartoon, with later media like Robot Masters, Kiss Players, and Transformers Legends tying the series together in greater detail. The gag dub of the Beast Wars cartoon remains fondly remembered by many Japanese fans, particularly actor Shigeru Chiba's highly strung portrayal of Magmatron. The wacky personalities the dub gave the characters have carried over into their appearances in new Japanese media, and Yoshikazu Iwanami has continued to direct almost every subsequent Japanese dub of an American-produced Transformers cartoon in that same comedic style. Even though the Beast Wars 2nd and Neo cartoons have never received an official English release, and indeed it took 20 years before even fansubs of them were completed, select figures from both series were made available by Hasbro in the early 21st century, through their official online store and as part of the Beast Machines and Transformers Dinobots toy lines. And many more of the series' characters would also go on to appear in Western media, mostly in stories from IDW Publishing and the Transformers Collectors Club. And of course, select characters from both Beast Wars 2nd and Beast Wars Neo have been lucky enough to receive new toys over the years, both from Takara and from Hasbro. Heck, the very week this video is being released, Takara have announced new figures of Beast Wars 2nd Galvatron and his brother, Gigastorm. But there's one character who's received more attention than anyone else, and that's who we're going to turn our attention to now. Next up are the basics on the single most significant breakout fan-favourite character of the Japanese Beast era, Lio Convoy. Released in 1998, the original Lio Convoy toy was created for the Japanese version of the Beast Wars toy line. Like his name suggests, he transformed into a white lion, loaded with weapons and gimmicks like his spinning Lion Typhoon mane. Both a firm military commander and a kind and honest bot devoted to justice and good, Lio Convoy was the first of many Japanese original characters to carry the Convoy rank, a title shared by commanders in the Maximal Army, who all resembled Optimus Prime and who each carried a power source known as an Energon Matrix. Lio Convoy was the leader of the Maximal unit featured in the Japanese exclusive animated series Beast Wars 2nd. The series was set tens of thousands of years in the future, and began with Lio Convoy being lured into a trap in an asteroid belt by Predacon Emperor Galvatron. Caught in an explosion, Lio Convoy was hurled across space to the planet Gaia, which was secretly actually post-apocalyptic Earth. There, his damaged body was found by a white lion, which brought him to a cave brimming with Angolmois Energy, a mysterious power that dwelled within the planet. Healed by the energy, Lio Convoy scanned the lion to serve as his beast mode, then reunited with his troops for a new mission to prevent Galvatron from acquiring the power of Gaia's Angolmois Energy for himself. Later in the series, Lio Convoy was shocked to discover that the interaction of the Angolmois Energy with his Energon matrix during his recovery had caused the spontaneous creation of a childlike duplicate of him named Lio Jr. A rash, temperamental kid with an Energon matrix of his own, Lio Jr. considered Lio Convoy his father, but Convoy refused to acknowledge Jr. as anything but a soldier. Multiple colour variations of Lio Convoy's toy were offered as store exclusives and contest prizes, including a black version, which doubled as the evil clone Copy Convoy, featured in one episode of the cartoon, one sharing Galvatron's purple colour scheme, representing Lio when Galvatron temporarily corrupted him with evil-tainted Angolmois in the Beast Wars 2nd manga, and a sparkling translucent version named Flash Lio Convoy, a powered-up form Lio Convoy took on in the Beast Wars 2nd movie, in which he teamed up with the time-travelling Optimus Primal, and the pair united the power of their Energon matrices to defeat the monstrous Majin Zarak. At the climax of the cartoon, when Galvatron summoned his ultimate weapon, the artificial planet Nemesis, to drain Gaia's Angolmois, Lio Convoy and Lio Jr. faced the Predacon leader in final battle together. Finally accepting the brave youngster as his son, Lio Convoy's Energon matrix fused with Junior's, merging the two Maximals into a mighty green lion. With their enhanced powers, they dispersed the Angolmois energy across the galaxy and destroyed Galvatron and the Nemesis, causing a massive explosion that tore open a wormhole in space and time, into which Lio Convoy vanished. Audiences wouldn't learn what had become of Lio Convoy until near the end of the 1999 sequel series, Beast Wars Neo, which revealed that the wormhole had flung him back in time. Thousands of years in the past, he discovered that Angolmois Energy was in fact the disembodied life force of the monster planet Unicron. With Unicron now free from his prison within Gaia, Lio Convoy returned to join forces with Big Convoy and prevent the Dark God's spirit from taking Cybertron as his new body. In the wake of their victory, the series concluded with Lio Convoy being appointed Cybertron's new leader. Lio Convoy was unquestionably the most popular breakout new character created for the Japanese Beast Era series, and that popularity has seen him appear in multiple new series and receive many new toys in the 21st century, both in his native Japan and from Hasbro in America, who even made his original toy available in their markets through their web store in the year 2000. Lio Convoy's appearances in new Japanese series have tended to be set within the continuity of the Beast Wars cartoons, beginning with 2004's Robot Masters, which saw him sent back in time from Gaia to 21st century Earth, where he teamed up with other Maximal and Autobot leaders. His story was continued after the events of Beast Wars Neo by, of all things, the Japanese version of the Transformers Prime toy line in 2012, which included an exclusive new toy recolored from Prime Thundertron. The profile that came with this figure detailed how Lio Convoy had crossed dimensions into the world of Transformers Prime to investigate the awakening of Unicron in that universe. His dimension-hopping adventures continued into the Transformers Legends toy line in 2017, in which he travelled into the Legends world and merged with his counterpart from that universe to become a Headmaster, a tiny robot forming the head of a larger body, retooled from the 2016 Titans Return Alpha Trion figure, which transformed into both a lion and a spaceship. Meanwhile, in Hasbro markets, Lio Convoy appeared in IDW Publishing's Beast Wars comic book miniseries between 2006 and 2008, an alternate continuation of the cartoon's story in which he led a Maximal unit called the Pack in stopping the Predacon Shockeract's Angolmois-fueled ambitions. And several toys of him were released in the Transformers Classics and Universe lines between 2007 and 2009, all of which were recolors of the Autobot lion, Lio Breaker. These figures were sold under the more US market-friendly name Lio Prime, and that name would even make it back over to Japan, where it was used for the Transformers Prime and Legends toys, explained to be a new name Lio Convoy had taken on after he became ruler of Cybertron. In 2015, the Transformers Collectors Club offered an exclusive figure of Lio Convoy that reimagined him with a Cybertronian truck mode, retooled from the Transformers Generations Orion Pax toy. This figure led to Lio Convoy receiving his biggest role in English-language media yet, in the club's Beast Wars Uprising series of stories between 2015 and 2016. This series was set on a dystopian, alternate future Cybertron, where the Maximals and Predacons were an impoverished underclass made to fight in gladiatorial blood sports by their Autobot and Decepticon masters. The Lio Convoy of this world worked under Eject, the overseer of these games, to manipulate their outcomes, until a chance encounter with the revolutionary Black Arachnia opened his eyes to the injustices of his world, and he joined her in leading an uprising against their cruel masters. To counter the rebellious Lio Convoy, Eject created the dark clone Convoy, based on the original Galvatron-coloured Lio Convoy figure, and released as an exclusive toy at official convention BotCon in 2016. Corrupted by alien artificial intelligence Lord Imperius Delirious, Convoy turned on his creator and began his own twisted effort to bring a form of peace to the planet with a virus that reformatted Transformers into mindless Viacon drones. But Lio Convoy was able to defeat him by infecting him with the very virus he had created. In 2020, a new Lio Convoy toy was released in the high-end, collector-targeted Masterpiece line, based directly on the stylized proportions and cartoonish features of his anime character design. This was followed in 2023 by a figure in the Legacy toy line, which, in keeping with the other new Beast Wars toys of the 2020s, was designed to look more like a real lion. However, in 2025, Takara produced their own exclusive retool of the Legacy figure that gave the lion mode a more cartoon-inspired look. And in 2026, they released a recolor of this retool in a green, glow-in-the-dark color scheme, representing Lio Convoy's legendary green lion form from the cartoon's climax. Both Masterpiece and Legacy figures were also recolored into evil black and grey doppelgangers of the Maximal leader. The Masterpiece figure became Dark Amber Lio Prime, while the Legacy figure became Nemesis Lio Prime. These assorted figures and recolors were promoted by the manga End of G1 Universe, which picked up Lio Convoy's story where Legends had left off. Set in the distant future, near the very end of the universe itself, the comic detailed how Lio Convoy sacrificed his life to save that of the fallen Maximal, Blue Bolt. Blue Bolt attempted to use Angolmois Energy to resurrect Lio Convoy, but the fusion of Unicron's energies with the Maximal leader's own instead resulted in the creation of a new being, Dark Amber Lio Prime. Guided by the spirit of Lio Convoy, still alive within his Energon matrix, Dark Amber and Blue Bolt set out to use the power of Angolmois Energy to save the universe from its looming end. That's the story of Lio Convoy so far. So now, let's take a look at his successor, the mighty Maximal Commander so powerful he can turn the tide of a battle all by himself. These are the basics on Big Convoy. Released in 1999, The original Big Convoy toy was created for the Japanese version of the Beast Wars toy line. He was one of the heroic Maximals and transformed into an organic woolly mammoth, loaded with gimmicks and weaponry, most prominently his colossal signature weapon, the Big Cannon. Big Convoy was one of many Japanese original characters to carry the Convoy rank, a title shared by commanders in the Maximal army, who all resembled Optimus Prime and who each carried a power source known as an Energon Matrix. In fact, Big Convoy was the first toy in Transformers history to come with a removable Matrix accessory. Big Convoy was the lead hero of the Japanese original animated series Beast Wars Neo. He was a solitary warrior who chose to wander the galaxy fighting alone, whose incredible combination of strength and firepower earned him the nickname the One-Man Army. But as the series began, Big Convoy found himself assigned a new job outside of his comfort zone by Vector Sigma, the megacomputer which ruled Cybertron. He was to serve as instructor to a squad of unruly young Maximal cadets and lead them on a mission to recover capsules of the mysterious Angolmois Energy, which had been scattered across the galaxy by Maximal Commander Lio Convoy at the end of the previous series, Beast Wars II. Unused to working with others, the gruff Big Convoy wasn't well suited to command or to teaching, and episodes would typically end with Vector Sigma remotely taking control of him through his Energon Matrix to make him deliver educational speeches to his students, summing up the important morals and lessons about working together that each adventure taught them. As the series progressed, the lessons began rubbing off on Big Convoy as well, as he gradually warmed to his cadets and came to appreciate the value of teamwork. The series followed Big Convoy and his Maximals as they battled the forces of the Predacon, Magmatron, over the Angolmois capsules, culminating in the reveal that Angolmois was, in fact, the disembodied energy of the Transformers' ancient enemy, the monster planet Unicron, who sought to take Cybertron itself as his new body. Combining his Energon Matrix and his Big Cannon, Big Convoy created the Matrix Buster, which, powered by the combined energy of him and the loyal cadets he had trained into fine young warriors, successfully expelled Unicron from Cybertron, leaving the victorious Big Convoy free to finally return to where he was most at home, roaming the galaxy alone. A very different version of Big Convoy's story was told in the Beast Wars Neo manga. In this take on the Neo saga, Big Convoy began life as an actual living mammoth from a prehistoric alien planet. When Lio Convoy crashed on this world along with one of the Angolmois capsules, the mammoth was evolved into a transformer by exposure to a combination of Angolmois Energy and Lio Convoy's Energon Matrix. The manga followed the same basic arc as the anime, as Big Convoy's solitary heart was opened up by his time with his cadets. But it had a bittersweet ending when Unicron attempted to possess Big Convoy's body, and to stop him, Big was forced to unleash the full power of his Matrix, destroying both Unicron and himself. With his death, Big Convoy's spark was reincarnated as an ordinary mammoth once again, allowing him to return to a peaceful life in the wild, but with no memory of his life as a Transformer. Notable recolors of Big Convoy's toy included Black Big Convoy, representing a clone of the Maximal leader created by Vector Sigma, and Blue Big Convoy, a limited edition contest prize that didn't have any characterization until 2016, when the Legends spin-off manga depicted him as an ancient robot from a universe that had existed before our own, where he led an order of blue warriors defending peace across the multiverse in service of the Transformers' god, Primus. Check out the basics on the Primus Vanguard to learn more about him. The original toy was never sold in Hasbro markets, but unique recolors representing new characters were later available there. Nemesis Prime in the Transformers Universe toy line in 2004, and Ultra Mammoth from the Transformers Collectors Club in 2012. Big Convoy has never enjoyed the same level of fame and popularity as his predecessor Lio Convoy, meaning that he hasn't appeared very much since Beast Wars Neo ended, returning only very infrequently for small roles here and there. His first major post-Neo appearance, which was also his first major English language appearance, was in IDW Publishing's 2007 Beast Wars comic book, The Ascending, in which he led the fight to stop the Predacon Shockeract from using Angolmois Energy to plunge the populace of Cybertron into a Unicron-fueled madness. In Japan, Big Convoy wouldn't make another prominent appearance until 2018, when he was featured in the Transformers Legends manga. Published in conjunction with the toy line of the same name, this goofy comedy series was set in its own little universe, where the Maximals and Predacons were reimagined as cute, super deformed characters, all living and working in a city together. Here, Big Convoy was a school teacher who preferred to educate his students on Transformers history instead of the subjects he was meant to be teaching. Big Convoy's appearance in this manga was tied in with the release of the Legends toy of Decepticon triple changer Blitzwing. This figure came packaged with a partner robot called Big Fight, a recolor of Titan's Return Shuffler, who transformed from a robotic mammoth into both a tank and a blaster that Blitzwing could wield. The manga explained that Big Fight was Big Convoy after he had contracted Transformers sickness, a running joke in the series that involved a peculiar illness temporarily transforming the comic's cute characters into toy-accurate mechanoids. In this new form, Big Convoy teamed up with Blitzwing to repel an invasion of the Legends world by the evil aliens, the Quintessons. For over a quarter of a century, Big Fight was Big Convoy's only new toy. However, his original toy would be made available again in 2019, when it was reissued in Japan in a new cartoon-inspired colour scheme. Then again in 2020 in its original colours with a new Matrix Buster accessory. Also in 2019, in conjunction with these re-releases, following on from the character's recent appearance in the aforementioned spin-off manga, Blue Big Convoy was also reissued in the Legends toy line. Manga packed in with the figure reimagined the character to fit him into the world of the Beast Wars Neo cartoon, explaining that in this continuity, Blue Big Convoy was Big Convoy's father, an egalitarian warrior who thought that the other convoys had let the power that came with their title go to their heads. The manga detailed how Blue Big Convoy had died in battle long ago, which was what had led Big Convoy to become a lone wolf who didn't work with others, so that he would never again have to feel the pain of losing someone close to him. Most recently, in 2026, a new figure of Big Convoy was released in the Age of the Primes toy line. The first toy of the character to be sold by Hasbro, it was a faithful update of the original based on his appearance in the Beast Wars Neo anime, and featuring all the classic weapons and accessories, including his big cannon and his Energon Matrix. So even after all these years, the one-man army is still packing enough power to bring an entire battlefield to its knees. And on the other side of that battlefield, odds are good he'll be facing his arch-enemy, the prehistoric Predacon who's 3 beasts in one. Let's turn up the heat with the basics on Magmatron. Released in 1999, the original Magmatron toy was produced for the Japanese version of the Beast Wars toy line. The figure was made up of 3 separate prehistoric reptiles, a Giganotosaurus, an Elasmosaurus, and a Quetzalcoatlus. also known as the Landsaurus, Seasaurus, and Skysaurus respectively, which could combine to form either Magmatron's robot mode or a monstrous chimera called the Magmasaurus. Charismatic and level-headed, while also being a savage warrior, Magmatron was the main villain of the Japanese original animated series Beast Wars Neo. The series saw Magmatron and his team of Predacons competing with a unit of heroic Maximals led by Big Convoy to gather capsules of the mysterious Angolmois Energy, which had been scattered across the galaxy at the conclusion of the preceding series, Beast Wars 2nd. Magmatron usually had his troops do all the work while he remained on their ship, the Dinosaur. He tended only to step onto the battlefield if there was a chance for him to fight Big Convoy one-on-one. As the series progressed, it was revealed that Angolmois was the energy of the monster planet Unicron, when Unicron's servants, the Blentrons, began seeking the Angolmois capsules in order to revive their dormant master. The desperate Magmatron was so determined to prevent this that he was even willing to sacrifice his men's lives. But his efforts were in vain. Unicron was revived in a body of pure energy that took the form of the previous Predacon leader, Galvatron, and soundly defeated Magmatron in battle. But as Unicron set out to take Cybertron itself as his new body by possessing the planet's central computer, Vector Sigma, Magmatron struck back, launching a violent attack that forced Unicron's spirit out of the machine. Unicron retaliated by draining Magmatron's energy, leaving him unable to participate in the final battle, which ended with Unicron being defeated by the Maximals. But then, in the show's final seconds, the recovered Magmatron returned for one last battle with Big Convoy, after which the Maximals and Predacons laid down their arms and began working together to repair the damaged Cybertron. A rather different version of Magmatron's story was told in the Beast Wars Neo manga. In this take on the Neo saga, Magmatron began life as a trio of actual living animals from a prehistoric alien planet. When one of the Angolmois capsules crashed on this world, exposure to the energy fused the creatures together and evolved them into a transformer. Thus, when Unicron set about engineering his resurrection in the manga, his final step was to devour Magmatron, consuming the Angolmois energy within him. Reduced to a severed head, the dying Magmatron bestowed his sword upon Big Convoy, who used it first to end Magmatron's suffering, then to destroy the reborn Unicron's new body. Initially a Japanese exclusive, Magmatron's toy was later released in Hasbro markets as part of Beast Wars sequel series Beast Machines in the year 2000, oddly marketed as a Maximal despite retaining his Predacon insignia. Now, in Japan, Beast Wars Neo was set thousands of years after Beast Machines, but the profile that came with this release of the toy presented an alternate interpretation of the series events that moved them to take place much earlier in the timeline, shortly before Beast Machines, in the same era as the original Beast Wars cartoon. The profile detailed how, after his search for Angolmois, Magmatron returned to Cybertron during the events of Beast Machines, when the planet was overrun by Viacon drones, and joined up with a new team of Dinobot warriors to fight them. Magmatron's adventures in this era were briefly covered in the tie-in comic book The Wreckers, published through official convention BotCon, which told the story of how he and the Dinobots were lured into a trap by the evil alien Quintessons and destroyed by their techno-organic monster, the Dweller. Most Western fans' first major exposure to Magmatron was his starring role in IDW Publishing's 2006 Beast Wars comic book miniseries, The Gathering. In this series, which also depicted him as hailing from the original Beast Wars cartoon era, Magmatron was a respected Predacon general, instructed by the faction's ruling body, the Tri-Predacus Council, to hunt down the renegade Predacon, Megatron, who, as seen in the Beast Wars cartoon, had travelled back in time to prehistoric Earth on a mission to alter history. Magmatron and his troops followed Megatron into the past, but the power-hungry Magmatron had an ulterior motive for coming to Earth. Secretly, he intended to raise an army with which he could overthrow the Council by reprogramming the many Transformers lying in stasis pods around the planet. His plan was foiled by the Maximal Razor Beast, who blew up his transwarp device just as Magmatron was attempting to return to the future, blasting him into a limbo outside of time and space. Though trapped in this timeless place, Magmatron returned in the comic's 2007 sequel, The Ascending, in which he exerted what little influence he could on the physical world to stop the rise of the Angolmois-powered Predacon Shockeract and engineer his escape back to reality. Magmatron also had a notable role in the Beast Wars Uprising prose series released through the Transformers Collectors Club in 2016. This series was set in a dystopian alternate universe in which Maximals and Predacons alike were an impoverished underclass toiling under the Autobots and Decepticons. In this world, Magmatron was the chief engineer of the Dinosaur. When the ship was on an expedition to the planet Metascan Omega, he came into conflict with the craft's treacherous political officer, Synapse, after discovering that he was trying to prevent the crew from learning that the Maximals and Predacons back on Cybertron had risen up in rebellion against their oppressors. Magmatron went on to lead those among the crew who wished to fight in the uprising in returning to their homeworld, where they joined with other Transformers to form a vigilante team called the X-Bots, dedicated to protecting the non-combatant civilians of their world from the war waging around them. Notably, Magmatron's appearance in this universe was based on a figure from the Japanese toy line Diaclone, 2016's Dia Battles V2, a toy that, similar to the original Magmatron, was made up of 3 component vehicles that combine together to form a robot. Since then, Magmatron's only media appearances have been a few very brief showings in a couple of manga, including Transformers Legends, a goofy comedy series that depicted him as principal of a school where Big Convoy worked as a teacher. But then, in 2024, a new figure of Magmatron was released in the Transformers Legacy toy line. This faithful update of his original figure is the character's first new toy since he was introduced over 25 years ago, and has helped to introduce this fiery Predacon powerhouse to a whole new generation of fans. Lastly, let's wrap up this compilation with an exploration of the mysterious energy that drives the plots of both Beast Wars 2nd and Beast Wars Neo. These are the basics on the power of Unicron, Angolmois Energy. The story of Unicron's evil energy and its many abilities began with the character's introduction in 1986's The Transformers the Movie, a transforming robotic planet that roamed the galaxy consuming other worlds. Unicron was presented both in the film and in contemporary stories from the Transformers cartoon and Marvel comic book as possessing vast powers. He could reshape Transformers into new, more powerful forms, psychically communicate with, control, or torture others' minds, see and travel through space and time at will, including between alternate timelines and dimensions, even bring the dead back to life. However, the film offered no origin for Unicron and his incredible abilities, leaving other pieces of media to provide their own answers. In the cartoon, Unicron was revealed to be the rebellious creation of an alien genius named Primacron, which didn't do much to explain his cosmic powers. The comic, on the other hand, explained his ability to perform these unearthly feats by depicting him as a dark god from the beginning of time, ancient enemy of the Transformers creator, Primus, the god of light. Of these two origin stories, the comics version proved more popular, and went on to become the definitive origin story for Unicron in Western media, influencing many future series. Japanese media, however, has continued to tell stories set in the world of the original cartoon, which have explored the origin and nature of Unicron's abilities in their own unique way, beginning with the 1998 animated series, Beast Wars 2nd. This series introduced Angolmois Energy, a mysterious liquid energy that lay deep within the Earth, which, at some point in our future, was discovered by humankind and used to build a prosperous, advanced society. However, Angolmois was more than just a fuel. It had a strange, supernatural nature and reacted to the hearts of those who wielded it, achieving different effects whether used for good or for evil. Realizing that the inherent capacity for evil that exists within all human hearts risked tainting the Angolmois and causing great destruction, humanity was forced to abandon Earth and relocate to other planets, leaving the Angolmois behind. Tens of thousands of years later, a team of heroic Maximals led by Lio Convoy came to the deserted Earth to stop the evil Predacon Emperor Galvatron from obtaining the Angolmois energy still lying there, and in the course of their battles, they would experience many of the energy's unusual effects. It could reformat and upgrade Transformers into more powerful bodies, give life to new Transformers, and in the Beast Wars 2nd manga, it even evolved normal animals into Transformers. Now, the word Angolmois was taken from a real-life doomsday prophecy by 16th century French astrologer Nostradamus, who foretold that in the year 1999, someone or something called the Great King of Angolmois would be revived. This prophecy had become big in Japanese popular culture as 1999 approached, leading to its influence on this series, and it held a clue to where the story of Angolmois Energy would go next. At the climax of Beast Wars 2nd, Lio Convoy sealed the Angolmois Energy into capsules and scattered them across the galaxy. The 1999 sequel series, Beast Wars Neo, then followed two new groups of Maximals and Predacons as they competed to recover the capsules, encountering more of the energy's strange effects on the planets where they had landed. Eventually, in the final act of the series, it was revealed that Angolmois Energy was, in fact, the energy of Unicron himself, the source of his powers, which had somehow become sealed within the Earth after the destruction of his body in the movie. With the energy now released from the planet, Unicron's servants, the Blentrons, set about stealing the capsules and reuniting the Angolmois within them to create a living energy form for their master's spirit to inhabit. Unicron then attempted to possess Cybertron and take it as his new body, but he was defeated and expelled from the planet by the Maximals. Now, by complete coincidence, at the same time Beast Wars Neo was telling this story in Japan, in America, official convention BotCon also told its own alternate story about what became of Unicron's energy after the movie, titled Reaching the Omega Point. In this version of events, the destruction of Unicron's body blasted the Dark God's life force back through time to prehistoric Earth, where it lay hidden for eons. Eventually, in the far future, it was found by the Predacon Shockeract, who harnessed the power of Unicron's dark essence and used it to conquer all of Cybertron. To save the planet, an alliance of Transformers traveled back in time to purge Unicron's essence from Earth in the past, thereby altering history and wiping out Shockeract's timeline. Now, there was a lot of conceptual overlap between these two stories, so in 2007, Omega Point author Simon Furman combined the two ideas, merging the Japanese idea of Angolmois Energy with the Western concept of Unicron as a dark god to create a third take on the story for IDW Publishing's Beast Wars comic book, The Ascending. In this series, Angolmois was depicted as inherently evil and chaotic, like Unicron himself, possessing addictive, corrupting properties that Shockract used to drive the populace of Cybertron to acts of rage and violence, generating hatred and chaos as part of a ritual to bring about Unicron's resurrection. To date, the Ascending is the only major appearance of Angolmois Energy in Western media, because in 2010, a new interpretation of Unicron's evil energy was introduced as part of the newly launched Aligned continuity. By this point, 21st century additions to Transformers lore had established that Energon, the Transformers' fuel, was the life-giving energy of Primus himself. Thus, the Aligned continuity treated Unicron's energy as its direct counterpart, naming it Dark Energon. Typically manifesting as purple crystals, it was a poisonous, addictive substance known in Cybertronian legend as the blood of Unicron, which would eventually consume and destroy all but the most wicked, strong-willed individuals who tried to wield its power. Dark Energon debuted in the video game War for Cybertron, in which Megatron seized control of a sample kept aboard the Trypticon space station and used it as a weapon against the Autobots. Megatron's mad schemes ultimately led to Cybertron itself becoming poisoned with Dark Energon, leaving the planet unable to support life and forcing the Transformers to abandon their world. Dark Energon would also play a big role in the Transformers Prime animated series, in which it was seen to give life to inanimate machines and to reanimate dead Transformers as Terrorcon zombies. Now, Dark Energon was rare. Only small amounts of it had been released from Unicron's body after his defeat by Primus and the original 13 Transformers in the ancient past. But the Prime cartoon revealed that a vast reserve of Dark Energon was buried within the Earth, where Unicron had lain dormant since his defeat. The series also exposed the ultimate price of Dark Energon. It tainted a user with Unicron's evil energy, and when they died, their spirit was unable to join the afterlife, and was instead consigned to a Unicronian purgatory. The creators involved have said that the resemblance between Dark Energon and Angolmois Energy was just another coincidence, but functionally, they're just different expressions of the same idea: Unicron's unearthly power as a tangible energy that's able to do just about anything the plot demands. And material from the Transformers Collectors Club has since treated them as, broadly, just being different names for the same thing. Back in Japan, meanwhile, new stories set in the continuity of the original cartoon have continued to be told, still featuring Angolmois Energy. But there was one big unanswered question. If, in that continuity, Unicron was simply a creation of Primacrons, how did he possess this godlike power? To provide an answer, Japanese creators brought over aspects of the Western story of Unicron and Primus, beginning with Primus's introduction into the cartoon universe in 2006's Kiss Players, which explained that it was he who had sealed Unicron's Angolmois within the Earth in Beast Wars 2nd. The story was further expanded in 2019's Generations Selects manga, which told in full the story of humanity's discovery of Angolmois and the conflict that erupted as a result of its use. In the process, it was revealed that Angolmois was originally the energy of Primus. Primacron had studied and duplicated it, corrupting it with the dark intentions in his heart, resulting in an evil version of the energy that was used to create Unicron. The end result of this years-long international exchange of ideas is that, whether it's in American media or Japanese, Primus and Unicron represent two sides of the same coin: chaos and order, light and shadow, creation and destruction, good Angolmois and evil Angolmois, Energon and Dark Energon, inevitable forces in an eternal conflict with the Transformers caught in the middle.